I'm in love with the villainess, episode number 7. Okay, so I think if I were just to package it up, my friends, this was a really cute episode of I'm in love with the villainess. I think from top to bottom, this was a cute episode. Albeit boring episode, but wait. Hear me out, okay? I know that a lot of you that are in love with the villainess are also in love with the show. Here's the thing though, is I think the last 5 minutes of the episode made up for the rest of the episode. Now, I've been a proponent throughout my time of watching this that I'm really here for the tone that episode 1 set. And episode 1 set the tone of this is going to be some crazy skirt chaser who, you know, is just really over the top in love with the MC. Or I guess our MC is really over the top in love with the villainess. And she's going to have a ton of antics and craziness and be nonstop going after her. And it's going to be really funny and a lot of comedic moments and a lot of like, oh my gosh moments. That's what episode 1 really set up as the tone. I think it was episode 3 or 4 that diverged from that, and then it got a serious tone. And then it's kind of struggled for me personally to kind of come back from that tone because we've had elements of it just being boring and elements of the comedy coming back, but then just not hitting. So when it comes to episode number 7, the reason I want to talk about that is I've been a proponent to say like, hey, when it does serious, it hasn't done it very good. Not that I mind the pivot change, because I think a lot of people get lost in the sauce when I'm talking of like, I don't have a problem with the pivot change or a pivot change to funny to serious. My problem with this specific show was when it did that pivot change, it didn't do it good. I thought it did it very badly, and it kind of like soured and poo-pooed the show for me personally. But when episode number 7, what I will agree on is that I think it did that pivot change. And the last 5 minutes or so when we got really serious with Ray really diving into her emotions, I really feel like it did that change really well. And it got me a little emotional when Ray was kind of explaining her love and adoration for Claire. And when she took that serious tone, I actually really felt that like in my heart, in my like, and in my soul, I got teary eyed a little bit of like, she was explaining that like, and I think part of my confusion here is I don't know how much was being spoken and how much was thought because it had flashbacks of her prior life. And I couldn't really tell what she was actually telling Claire in that moment and what was just her kind of voicing her thoughts. It was very hard to tell. So I can't really speak for what was actually spoken to Claire in that moment. But what I will say is regardless of what the case was, thoughts or whatever, is when she was thinking of her past life and kind of like she had a shit life essentially. Like she was just your average looking, average salary man type slave worker in Japan. She had a job to where she would, you know, put on a 2-piece suit, you know, whatever it is, skirt and vest, or what do you call it? The jacket, sports jacket. Like she had the antithesis of slave worker in Japan, and she would work. And the thing that kind of like dug her out of this unhappy rabbit hole that she found herself in was a character inside of an Otome game that she decided to just go full tilt, full fangirl over, and she created fiction and all this other stuff. So when she told Claire in that moment of like, you don't realize it, but like you brought me, like you relit the fire in my heart. You brought me from a dark place. You brought me out of a dark place. Like you saved me. Claire might not really understand those words, but to Ray, they're extremely, extremely real. And obviously Claire took that in a weird way of like, I just don't understand you kind of thing. But I think Ray and Claire are at an impasse because, you know, on one hand, it's Ray's I love you and this and this and that. But on the other hand, where Claire's confusion, and rightfully so, comes into play, she gave her a necklace that's supposed to help her love. And she was like, oh, this is, you know, hopefully this helps you with Prince Thane. And, you know, Ray's trying to convey, like, if you love something, sometimes you have to let it go. And not that she'll stop loving, but the fact of like she realizes like she might not be the person that the love is directed back to. And you can respect that in a way, but I think what Claire's wanting, or maybe the unspoken thing that Claire wants or doesn't want, but what Ray needs to do is like she can't go back and forth. She needs to have an all or nothing. Like she needs to have a Hail Mary, and if it doesn't work out, she has to be okay with losing Claire forever. And I don't think Ray's at that point yet, but like I think that's what needs to happen. Is like she needs to Hail Mary her love, and there's a chance that Claire will you know, she'll receive it, you know. I think that's what needs to happen ultimately to decide on which diverging path we're going to go down. I don't know if we're going to get there in the 12 episodes or whatever the season's ready for. I think it's 12 episodes this season, maybe 13. 12 episodes. So I don't know if we're going to get there in 12 episodes, but that I feel like even Claire's like, that's what needs to happen. It's like, you either completely go after me or you don't. And if Ray wants this to be a real thing and wants it to go from friendship to romantic relationship, she needs to throw that Hail Mary. So I don't know. Anyways, I love the last 5 minutes of the episode. The rest of the episode, you could take it or leave it. We got some maid stuff, and take it or leave it. The rest of the episode could not exist. That last 5 minutes, I think, is what was important of the episode. And for once, I think they did the serious portion of the episode or this portion of the story really right, and they did it justice. It was nice to see, because I think, like, again, poo-pooing before, not so much. All right, my friends, that's been me for episode number 7. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below of the episode. Everything else, look forward to seeing those comments. And of course, as always, I'll see you guys next week for episode number 8 and 8. All right, peace out. Have a great week.